Hello and welcome to the Utropeia podcast. I am your host, Ken, middle name Stan, last name Tinople. I am also formerly known as Istanbul. But
currently,
but why I changed it, that's nobody's business but the Turks. Hello, you are listening to the Utropeia podcast, the podcast where we talk about tropes. I am your host, Ken, also known as Pumpken. That was a little bit I did at the beginning, but you know what? It changes every week, and I like to challenge myself with this terrible name that I was given. Hi, Mom. I love my name. I'm just kidding. If
I like your name too.
Thank you. This is also my co-host, Anna Cranberry.
Hi, welcome to Utropeia podcast. I'm very excited to talk about all of our feelings today.
We're already in the NPR part of the episode. It's good. I like it. And also, from atop the moon, Chris Moonjump!
yeah.
Are you falling from the top of the moon?
No, because if I did that, it would sound like.
What's this?
Because there'd be nothing.
Yeah, there's no air.
I got so excited that you would make a noise. I was like,
What's it gonna be?
I was at the edge of my seat smiling, what is it
noise
like?
does a moon man
it's gonna be
make?
such a funny noise.
That's my moon accent.
The moonfall. The beautiful moonfall.
From the dark side. Oh, and Todd Ogredose.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Hey there, partner.
Let's go back to the base, partner.
Partner.
Let's go back to the base.
Back to the base.
Don't drop it, though. Don't drop it.
No, my base.
No, my base. My beautiful base. This week on the Utropeia podcast, we are... What is this? This is a plot device, I think. Yeah, that's usually what we do. So we'll talk about
being bottle episodes.
It is
right?
a pleplesodes.
Pleplesodes.
Yes.
This is my favorite pleplesodes.
They are being like jars.
Very good.
It's like a room of writers. Pleplesold will write. It's the same team.
Perhaps Rose and
Of
Rachel
question
will
marks.
get back together. It is Franz. Nobody told them life was going to be that way.
Clapple.
Clapple, clapple. That is what we will
Joey
put.
is crazy character.
Joey come in, he
Monica
said.
need to calm down and be more confident in herself.
Chandler is my favorite. He is hung from a
Chandler.
ceiling and lights the room.
Could you are being any more particular?
I love where this episode went, although I'm not sure where we are. Maybe we're stuck in a bottle, like a bottle episode. But we're not there yet. We have to talk about what we're excited for / what we're bummed out about.
We're in a bottle because we have to do one thing to be able to escape.
One thing. I don't know why.
No. What are you excited for, Ken? We
I
never
am
start with
excited
you.
for... Whoa, no, I got excited for something, and then... Oh, Fruit Brute.
Oh.
Fruit Brute's coming back. I'm really excited for Fruit Brute, you guys.
Rediscovered food.
I rediscovered Fruit Brute last year. It's been 1 year since I had Fruit Brute. It's delicious, and it makes... Well, everything makes you go to, but, you know, it's all subjective.
It's got so
I'm
lackluster.
sorry to make it get real about having to go to the bathroom and eat
when
Fruit
you're so
Brute.
excited about Fruit Brute.
I'm too excited.
Wait, no, Fruit Brute in the bathroom, Ken. We've talked about
You're
this.
right.
It's too
I
far.
was too excited. You know what?
You've crossed a
If I
line.
just bring
If
a
Fruit
bowl
Brute
of
stays
Fruit
in the
Brute
kitchen.
into the bathroom, I'll never leave. It'll just be me
It's
endlessly
a horrible
staying.
machine of eating Fruit Brute, pooping it back out.
Yeah. Wait a minute. What you're implying is much more disgusting.
What are you talking about?
Oh, what are you excited about?
I'm excited for the fall. It's autumn and everything pumpkins out and it's awesome.
That's right. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I have chocolate milk.
You do.
No one died in the process of getting it. As
You
far
sure?
as I'm aware.
I think someone's uncle probably died.
Don't joke about that. Now I
Why
feel
not?
bad.
Everyone's an uncle to
It's not worth
somebody.
it.
Are you presuming that their uncle died explicitly because you got chocolate milk?
I'm just saying it.
And here's the question: do you now have great power?
No, just responsibility.
Oh, that's the worst.
No.
Yeah.
I wish I could have power and no responsibility.
I wish I could just skateboard all day and rip on my Aunt May. Just have her do my laundry and not care about like family values or anything.
Like, he's just a normal asshole teenager.
Yeah, that's if you've never seen Spider-Man 1, that's what he is. He's an asshole who just wants chocolate milk.
He just wants to stalk his girlfriend.
That's all he wants.
That's literally all.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go. Hey Todd, what are you excited for / bummed out about? I'm not transitioning to you for any reason after that song.
Smash Brothers.
Smash Bros.
Smash Brothers. Oh god, there's been so many leaks coming out.
Smash Hermanos Cuatros.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, there's been so much stuff coming out, and I now realize that I have like 2/3 of a month till it comes out, and I've done this only to myself. Where I sit and I stare at the computer screen at all the leaks, and I just slowly and quietly whisper to myself, I have to wait to play this. And it's the worst feeling. Oh, it's gonna be so good though.
I know that there was a discussion being is they've done Japan's demo that I think they said at some point this weekend they're gonna release the North America demo.
Oh, it'd be so good. Yeah, I started just watching. Like, it started with like the Japanese demo stuff, and like people are playing as Mega Man, and I'm like, oh, I want to be where they are. And now they
want to see them dancing.
Yes. That is correct.
I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know someone's smashing right now.
Using up C. They will all
maybe
flee.
down B.
Out of this world.
Off of the stage. Off of the stage.
Bravo.
Off of the stage. So many trophies. Why can't these bros see? I'm having no rage.
I'm gonna let this keep going. I figured it had like the punctuation at the end of it, but it just kept rolling out.
Using the Wiimote and the wheel, I make all the fanboys squeal. Down at these tourney, ending my journey off of the stage.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're good now?
You're
You're
done?
I've got to put down the
This
Jacko.
is a teaser for Smash Bros. The musical, which is going to be Utropeia's first musical that we will produce and make.
Yeah, support us on our
Stay tuned to see the
Kickstarter.
full production.
Wait until you hear
Kickstart
at
us.
least 4 songs about chocolate milk. And
Coming
one about the dangerous Segway that goes off of cliffs.
My favorite character.
The Segway?
With chocolate milk driving it.
I don't know about you guys. I'm just going to use Skeleport. It's a one-hit kill for both parties involved.
Teleport's got a very sad and short story.
Hey, it worked against the Russians. It's good enough for us.
Yes. Christopher, what are you excited /
Oh, you-
bums out about?
I am excited about Theater Rhythm comes out on Tuesday. And apparently I squeak like a girl. So, yeah.
I was not going to comment. I was going to let it go.
I'm really looking forward to it, guys.
No, seriously.
Really excited.
Like
You saved my entire paperboy, buddy.
You were that excited.
I
You just couldn't
am.
hide it.
It's okay. I squeal all the time.
But yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Theater Rhythm is a rhythm game using Final Fantasy music and characters, and pretty much combines 2 of my favorite things, which is the work of Nobuo Uematsu and rhythm games.
Awesome.
So yeah, this one actually, I think it has something. It's like 212 songs in the base game.
Jesus.
Yeah, they
Is Sid in the game?
expanded.
How many are Chocobo
I think there's
remixes?
actually, funny enough, I think there's only 2.
There's
I
only
think
2
I-
Sids?
Bullcrap. There's got to be more.
There
I
has
think
to be more than one Sid, right?
Uh,
Like, that's a popular name.
you mean being as
I can't tell if you're like not commenting on this whatsoever. I I do want to comment. Temporarily, Ken was using his headphone wire to hang a noose around the bell.
Saved by the bell.
Oh, it's all right. But
That's a dark twist.
but yeah, so that is I went ahead and I had pre-ordered for the special edition of it and everything because yeah, it's fantastic. And anyone who loves Final Fantasy should play the games because it also has old cutscenes and things.
Yay.
Oh, that's
And it is one of those perfect nostalgia series. Like, hey, you liked all these games we made before we decided to do a 3-part epic. How about you enjoy all of them together and at least enjoy the good parts of 13?
hopefully it includes Spirits Within.
I hope.
One day I will get into talking about Spirits Within because it is a massively underrated movie.
It's warm.
It
What
is.
about Mystic Quest?
No, Mr. Crest is rated exactly where it needs to be, back in its hole. Actually, they do have Mystic Quest music in this theater rhythm.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so there you go, Todd.
Yay.
You'll
Just
know
for
at least,
you, Todd.
You'll know at
Just
least
for
one
me.
song on the soundtrack.
Theater rhythm, theater rhyme. Get on up. It's Utropia time. Cool runnings.
There are 4 of us.
There's 4 of
There's
us.
4 of us.
Utropia, you know we can't believe. Utropia, the bobsled team. I
Seemed appropriate.
I don't know the
sorry.
rest of the song. I'm very sing-songy this episode. I
A very
apologize.
musical
coming out.
episode of Utropia.
Yeah.
It is not what we're talking about, though. Save it for sometime else.
No, a bobsled is shaped kind of like a bottle.
Oh my god.
A bottle sled
Oh my
episode.
A bottle sled. Blood, blood. Okay, so I'm gonna bring us down. I'm gonna bring us back
We're never
to reality.
coming back down from Cool Runnings.
There goes
Unless
gravity.
it's down a slope.
Yes.
It's not even
Yeah.
That was good. Don't take that away from you.
Oh,
How
that joke!
dare you?
That joke is Jamaican me crazy.
As long as we're not jerks about it. Blah, blah. Bwah, bwah, bwah.
I'll let it slide.
What is this episode already?
So bottles.
It's about bottles.
Oh god.
Like a Jamaican soda.
How is this a podcast?
Because it's on the internet and for some reason we still have
You
listeners.
sons of bitches reading and listening.
Keep reading the transcript
Keep
that I
reading
haven't
my
made yet.
face you can see right now, which is in pure pain.
Woo! Taste the painbow.
Come down from it, Bob.
Okay,
Come on.
I'm trying.
Come on,
I'm-
get serious.
You know what? I want to start the episode, but you won't let me. A bottle episode is an episode typically where a bunch of characters are stuck in a location, or they might do it for financial reasons, where it's just like you have one set and you keep it there. Sometimes it's more of a social study. Sometimes it's I've seen it used for things like recap episodes or for humor purposes. But there's different reasons for it. But when I talk about a bottle episode, what is it that you guys think of first? I'm gonna let Chris Moonjump go first.
The one actually that I really thought about.
You thought about it really hard too, because it cut out.
That was honestly the worst timing.
Yeah, it was.
But Saved by the Bell is probably one of the biggest examples of these because it was pretty much an entire series made of bottle episodes.
Yeah.
There was probably an entire season that was shot literally either in front of the set of lockers there where they had the main set of stairs and then in Mr. Belding's classroom. That's it. Get 20
That's
episodes
true.
out of it.
You know, I want to say that they weren't trapped, but school is kind of like a prison, man. So
Well,
This is because it was a sitcom.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
that's
and
true.
then of course, and I hope I'm not taking this one from anyone, but then I have to go for one of my favorite bottle episodes, which kind of ties in with other principles. But
Okay.
Groundhog Day.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I mean,
Kind of a bottle episode, wouldn't it?
yeah, it's a Bottle Town episode,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
They didn't make bottles in that town, but he was stuck there. No, he was literally stuck there constantly, forever.
Yeah.
He almost became a god.
Well, from what I understand, if you actually read some of Harold Ramey's stuff on it, it's
Yeah.
I think he was there for somewhere around approximately like 20,000 years,
20,000 years.
repeating the same day.
Give you such a crick in the neck.
Thank you.
Rest in peace.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay.
So,
People
Anna,
wanna
what are you
talk
bummed
about bottle
about?
episodes too? 'Cause they're trapped in a lamp.
Oh, because he's stuck in that lamp.
Verschlagen a lamp. No, that's Groundhog Day is a good one. 20,000 years.
Bill
jeez.
Murray is his own bottle
Bill Murray is a
because he's an alcoholic.
get better, Bill
Wow.
Murray.
That
All
got
rooting for
dark.
you.
Welcome to Utropia Podcast. Let's distract you from depressing sadness with sound effects.
Todd, Ogredose,
You're
All
the
right.
man, Todd.
All right. When I think bottle episodes, I think Clerks movie.
Yes, I
Specifically.
had. Oh, the movie?
The movie,
Ooh,
because the
movie.
movie, if you think about it, it takes place in the course of one day.
Yep.
Very little scenery change in it. It's mostly either in the quick stop or the video store. I think there's
And
like
a little on top of it.
I think there's there's one scene where they go off to like a funeral house, but
yeah.
but for the most part they are in that in the confined area for the entire time, and most of it is just the interactions of people who come in and out. So I thought it was a really solid kind of like first go-to for a bottle episode.
Yeah,
And,
no, it is solid.
And especially because it's an entire movie that's like that, like Chris had said with Groundhog's Day, but I thought it was a really solid example where you have essentially just following a day of characters that aren't allowed to go anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah,
And-
it was good.
And
Mhm.
fun fact about that, part of what kind of almost shows that as kind of a low budget example is the soundtrack for Clerks actually cost more to make than the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, and,
For them
and,
to okay it.
it was filmed in the Quick Stop. That's an actual place where Kevin Smith worked because he didn't have any money to go anywhere else, so they filmed it all at night in his workplace.
Yeah.
And that's why the shutters are always closed in it.
Yeah.
So you can't tell whether it's day or night there. So, but I thought it was a really solid example. And you can tell one of the things that gives like a bottle episode like meaning is it's usually a lot more of like a dialogue driven instead of like outside action and all that. And I can't think of a Kevin Smith movie that's more dialogue driven than
And Clerks, yeah. No, he loves his dialogue.
He does.
Kevin Smith. He loves it. Yeah, he makes jokes about not moving the camera too. One more fun bit of trivia. Do you know why it was filmed in black and white? 'Cause
No.
that was cheaper back in the day. That's the only reason
the answer
behind
to
it.
anything with Clerks is why they did it a certain way is because it was cheaper.
Yep, because he had a bunch of credit cards and he maxed
Yeah, it was
them
like
all
6
out.
credit
and made a
cards or
movie.
something. Maxed them out. It's a great movie though. It's my favorite of the Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm. It's good. He should be coming out with Clerks 3 pretty soon too.
Working on Tusk
I'm excited
too,
for it.
So
Yeah, and Yoga Hosers and a couple of other ones. Listen to the Smodcast on smodcast.com. Anna Cranberry.
Yes.
What are you bottles episodes?
What are you bottles?
What are you bottles?
What are you Well, I like to bottles.
I like the bottle.
Jams,
Yes,
jellies,
that's okay.
pickles.
That's more of a jarring, but okay.
Listen, don't judge me.
I'm sorry.
Okay. This is my life. If Bill Murray can do it,
So can
Bill Murray.
okay.
Spoken fruit.
Bill Murray, I
20,000
apologize.
brews.
I love
Give
you
you
in that
such
movie.
a crick in the box.
Give you such a crick in the
The
fruit.
cardboard box that Aladdin finds.
Yeah, that's how you
rub the
find
fruit brute box, and a werewolf comes out.
It's like old and stale.
Never. It's vintage.
Okay. So, what I
Okay.
think of for bottles. Bottle episode to me is usually character driven.
Yes.
There are different reasons that a bottle episode happens. It is just like a trope that people fall back on.
Mhm.
A lot of times I think it's just cheaper because you're in one location. And this is for anything, a game, a movie, an episode of something. Like, it's just cheaper because you're in one spot, and then all you really have to do to fuel it is writing. A lot of times there's conflict between characters if there's multiple of them trapped in the bottle episode together, and it forces them to have character development throughout and then come out of it closer together, or even worse if you want it to be that way, as a result of that time.
Okay.
Classic episode that I thought of was Hey Arnold, which is where they are stuck on the subway.
Yep.
It is literally like what I would define a bottle episode as. They are trapped, everyone fucking hates it, and by the end of it, it works out better.
There's a song that I think of immediately from that too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's all hold hands down on the subway.
Magnificent.
Yeah, it's the homeless guy who's there the whole episode, and he doesn't
we
give
know.
a get out of your house. So good, but no,
So good.
because that one actually dealt with claustrophobia too, didn't it? And that was one of the. And that's one of the few examples I
There's
can
one
think
of the
of.
passengers on the subway is claustrophobic, and she's struggling with
Yeah.
it.
She's there with her psychiatrist, and eventually her psychiatrist is breaking up, and she goes, "Think big, wide, open spaces." And her psychiatrist goes, "That never works. I just tell you that it never works." No, that was a good episode too. I had, well, you know what? My example, it's also a movie, Phone Booth. Home movie takes place where a guy gets held at sniper gunpoint in a phone booth.
Yep.
Yep. It's just a crazy psychopath has been following his life, and he's cheating on his wife with another lady, and he makes him confess with all of these news cameras around and tricks him into holding a gun up. So they think he's going to oh no, wait, the sniper like shoots two other people and frames him pretty much, and that's what it is. So it's like a bunch of police like about to shoot him, and he has to stay on the phone and confess or die, I guess. And that's the whole movie. And it would never work because there's no such thing as a payphone anymore.
What's a payphone?
So it's very dated. I think it's I don't know.
It's a
don't know,
phone.
It's a
like,
phone made of razor
the
blades.
phone isn't in your pocket.
It's the call is coming from inside the phone.
Wait, what? How does that work?
It's like the call is, imagine, if you will, a phone bolted to the sidewalk, and you have to pay to use it.
That is
That's-
ludicrous.
That is.
I refuse to believe that this is an object.
I don't believe Ludacris was in that movie, but if he was, I'd probably still go and see it.
Agreed.
Okay.
Well, that's so it's like a fast enough.
It's a Fast and a
Fast and the Furious?
Fast and a
Oh, no.
Furious.
Yeah, because it's got Ludacris. That's all he does.
Get back. You don't know me like that. You do know me. Okay, so these are all very good examples. It's like you had mentioned before. I wanted to talk about this. Hello. Hi. How are you?
What are you doing?
Because you're giving me like this little face.
This is what happens when you live with Ken.
It's nonstop references and jokes that maybe don't go anywhere.
There's a
phone.
bobsled right now.
There's a bobsled. It's ready to go. Like, we just have to get in. I was gonna leave a section open to talk about what you had mentioned earlier, but since you had touched on it about how it's more of a social kind of study, it's like you lock characters in in a place or in a position very much like the Community episode. This is exactly why I thought of bottle episodes, because they reference it. They just directly reference it. They keep them inside the library in the study room because Annie lost her pen and she thinks one of them is responsible for it. And they mentally unravel and they go into the psychology behind what a bottle episode is. That can be a particular type, but in a situation like Groundhog Day, or in the case of Phone Booth, or in the case of Speed, where they're on a bus, maybe
not in the
maybe
second
not so
one.
much.
The second
No.
one, they're on a boat because it's cruise control.
Oh God, I forgot that was the subtitle to that movie. Oh my gosh, is that in your Who Does It? You know, we'll save that for later. But let's
That's
let's
in my
ask ourselves.
That's my who does it well, who does it poorly. Just all of them are cruise
That's
control.
my Who Could Do It Better cruise control.
That's what I
my
am for
final
this
thoughts.
episode. I've just locked it right in the cruise control.
All right, that's our tentative title for now. I know it sounds like serious typing, and it is. Okay.
You were saying?
Oh, sorry. I was gonna let you have the first one on this, actually.
Oh, who does it well? Or is
Yeah,
it,
who does it well, or reverse osmosis if you have a different kind of water supply.
who does it well? There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
Who does it well, I think, is Clerks, the animated series.
Ah, that's who I had. It's so good. And why is it?
well,
Why would you call that good?
Well, the best part about it is like the last episode of Clerks, the animated series that they did, which if you haven't watched Clerks, the animated series, please watch it. It's it's amazing. But the last episode, they start off doing like a viewer reading, like a letters to them, like a reading segment, and one of them is like, oh, because it's not really like Clerks the movie, but they actually get a letter that says, why aren't you like Clerks the movie? So they make it to where it's supposed to be more like Clerks. They're stuck in the quick stop all day, and every time they go to leave, something happens where they get interrupted, can't leave, and it's a fantastic, just like direct reference to bottle episodes, because it's just like no matter what they do, they can't leave, and they kind of have like a witty dialogue with each other, but because it's Clerks the animated series, it's all stupid like dialogue, and it's like trying to reference stuff from the movies. It's fantastic. And when they do actually finally break out of the bottle episode, it's just mayhem, like everything's crazy, and eventually it turns into a Duck Amuck parody. And like it was such a beautiful episode that just perfectly summed up like bottle episodes in general. Like if you're not gonna watch the Community episode on bottle episodes, watch the Clerks animated one on it. It's amazing.
You had a different episode than I did from Clerks animated.
Really?
Actually, I did the second episode where they're stuck in the freezer.
Yeah, they are. Oh god, the second one is like a bottle episode too, because that's because it's the flashback episode, but it's only the second episode, so everything they flash back to is from the first episode.
Because it touches on another format of episode, which is the like the clips episode.
Yeah.
It's the recap episode technically. So before the internet, you had an episode that like summed up most, if not all, of the series or the season for different stuff. So like the Simpsons have like the Troy McClure hour special.
I can't believe
show.
It's another clip show.
yeah, it's the clip show one. So they did it in Clerks to comment on it, but it's the second episode. So all they keep doing is, hey, remember that time we broke into the Leonardo Tower? And it's the same clip of them like going up sideways of the tower every single time.
They use like the why are we walking like this joke like 3 or 4 times in the span of that episode. It's beautiful.
And it was a good joke the first time around.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
it's a great callback
it's just like us.
joke.
It just keeps running the same joke over and over into the ground.
Why are we walking like that?
What is this, a podcast? Anna seems to be falling asleep, so I'm gonna go to her next.
I'm not.
I'm not. I'm not sleepy.
I'm not that thing.
I'm not that. I am not a prize to be won.
More bottles?
More bottles.
Not
the
99
bottles from Banjo Kazooie.
Or Sergeant Jam Jars from
Sergeant
Banjo
Jim Jam?
Tooie. Yes, Sergeant Jim Jam. See, you don't even need my help derailing you.
Just say things to me and I will get off track.
Okay.
What I had in mind for what I really like in a bottle episode.
Yes.
I don't know if I'll get yelled at because it's not technically
Yeah.
what you would define it as. We've been getting kind of general with it.
Yeah.
But in Walking Dead, there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if I could talk about it. It's
We'll
not
just mention it real quick because you brought it up.
basically, two characters get separated that have nothing in common.
Yep.
And I really like what they did with it because it's by the end of the episode, there's such a strong
Mhm.
character development for both of them. And it was just amazing what they did. If you haven't watched the series, go through.
You're not spoiling anything by.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to say who it is or anything like that.
You
But
can say that it's Norman Reedus and another character.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so it's Norman
It's
Reedus and
Daryl
another
and
character.
another character, yeah. And I don't know, the writing was just fantastic. It was something I never expected to happen. Like, it was one of those things where you'd be like, really? When they do an episode based
It's
on it, but
two
it turned out to
characters
be
who
very
practically never talk to each other.
good. Yeah.
And the writers pretty much forced a situation where they would interact and they get really personal, and it's a really cool episode actually. It's from the, what is that, 4th season?
The most recent one.
Yeah, the most recent season.
That was a
whatever.
good.
It's
I
2014.
liked it. It was a good episode.
Yeah. And I don't know. I just thought that was amazing. I call it a bottle episode because, they're not technically trapped with each other, but like they can't leave one another. Like they're in a situation where they have to stay together to survive. So I don't know. I just thought that was an
pretty good.
amazing example of just strong writing, a good way to deal with
Oh,
it.
great example.
Even if they're not. Yeah, no, it's a good example. Even if they're not technically trapped there, or whatever, it's still dialogue written. They're in one location. I think it still fits. So,
Isolated. Yeah.
yeah, it's good. Yeah, Chris Moonjump.
Moonjump.
All right, I'm going to set a scene.
Okay.
You ready? The year is 1998.
Ooh.
On the moon.
Right? Yes. A bunch of kids have started to have seizures in Japan,
Okay.
and the Pokemon group now needs a new episode to fill in for that week.
Oh my god.
And what comes out of it is actually one of the saddest episodes of Pokemon
Oh,
ever.
what is it? Goodbye Pikachu or something like that?
Yes. Pikachu's
That was
Goodbye,
it.
which is the episode where, Ash tries to get rid of Pikachu. It's a perfect example of a bottle episode because it was made on a very short production schedule. There's actually only 2 Pokemon that they use for animation, and that's Meowth and Pikachu.
Yep.
There was very minimal editing done. There's actually a fair number of small production errors and things that occurred in it. And it was made as a result of the episode of the Electric Soldier Porygon that caused a bunch of kids in Japan to have seizures. I think it set the Guinness Book of World Records for number of children having seizures from a television show.
That's something to
You beat us,
strive for.
Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So they basically wound up making the episode. It is never ever referenced in any other episode. The location that they give you is never known.
Mhm.
And they just kind of run with it. It is just you could almost call it a filler episode, except it is completely encapsulated and has nothing to do with the rest of.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's one of those. I always thought that one was really well done because even rewatching the Indigo League series here, once they put it back up on Netflix, was that's a pretty emotionally touching episode.
I remember them I remember my friends at school talking about that episode actually.
Yeah.
Just wow, did you see that episode of Pokemon? Yeah, it was really sad. Yeah, it was. It was okay though. Yeah, it was. Just kind of wish they'd go back to like getting badges and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's how about we get away from all of that depressing stuff? Well, yeah, basically you would have actually, had we had the alternative, you could have watched Porygon fight Team Rocket in the grid.
The grid.
That was amazing.
Tron could be a bottle episode, but it's really big. It's a really big bottle.
But yeah, so that was one that I always thought was really well done when researching this one, because up until I actually began to do research for this episode, I didn't know that it was actually that was the one created so quickly to mask the Porygon incident, which is unfortunate because I've never seen the Porygon episode either. I don't think a copy exists.
I've only seen clips of the part that caused the seizures. That's the only part that I can watch.
And I'm not gonna lie, it'll cause seizures.
Isn't it like it's not even Porygon? It's like Pikachu's freaking out or something, and it's like flashing colors.
Pikachu hits a rocket in midair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it proceeds to alternate red and blue, like generic CMYK red and blue.
Yep.
Back and forth at like 8 hertz. And it's just like, I have no problems with epilepsy or anything like that. I don't have any distortion in video games or anything like that for motion sickness. But even looking at that one kind of makes your head
it's a little jarring.
Freak out. Yeah.
Like,
or a little bottling.
It's a little bottling too. A little Mason jarring. Because I mean, I was a Newgrounds kid. I grew up in the early 2000 Flash era, back when they made things that, were intended to shock and be like untasteful pretty much. And they had like some Flash animations that were just rapid red and blue repeating over and over again to like try to troll you or like just be terrible in terms of like video. Like they tried to actively make things that were unwatchable sometimes. Just Google what Clock Day is on newgrounds.com and you'll fall into a rabbit hole that you wish I had never mentioned. Anyway, but no, that particular episode was like, it brought attention to it too in a big way. I mean, it's a shame that it happened, but I mean, it made people aware, and I think it set up like a standard for episodes later on. I think The Simpsons commented on it too, but
they did.
Simpsons do everything. So,
that's one of my favorite Simpsons gags, actually. Homer walks in the room, it's like, isn't this that show that causes kids to have seizures? And like everyone's already on the floor seizuring out. And he just goes along with it. He's like, oh, okay. And he just like starts wiggling on the floor.
Yeah, he just shrugs, and then the voice actor goes to town with like grunts and stuff. Gosh. Tasteless. But funny, I guess. I don't know. Things can be tasteless and funny at the same time.
Kind of like Fruit Brute.
Kind of like, hey, take that back. Delicious cherry with a hint of werewolf. It's good. I had another suggestion, but we can. No, I'm gonna say it. The Magic Conch from SpongeBob.
I've never seen the Magic Conch from
The Magic
SpongeBob.
Conch. It starts off where it's weird because this big kelp tree grows next to Squidward's house, and they build a tree fort in it. And when Squidward comes out and asks them what are they doing, and they say, "You can't come up here." And he takes that as a fuck you, but it's actually like, no, we built it too small and we can't get back down. So he climbs up, and as he climbs up, it creates a slingshot sort of situation, and they get launched into the kelp forest, and they're stranded there. And the reason that they built the treehouse was because it was a club for something called the Magic Conch, which is just a string pulled 8-ball, more or less, but it's a conch. And they'll ask it questions, and they can only do what the conch says. So every time Squidward is just like, "Can we go and look for help? No." "Can I have something to eat? No." "Can I please have something to eat? Try again later." "Can I please have something to eat? No."
Oh, God.
It's amazing. But that is directly a bottle episode. And it's one of the funnier moments in the SpongeBob cartoon. No, I don't really think that's as much about conflict as it is just a joke about the magic conch and doing the joke about like, what if they could only do what an 8-ball said and it just hated Squidward? But yeah, that was my quick one off. It doesn't do it badly, but you know what? Let's talk about who does it badly or make it redundant. Have I gone with you first, Chris? I think I have. Have I gone first with Anna? I think I've gone first with everybody. You can correct me if I'm wrong. This can be edited out. I don't care.
It's trying to remember, but no, go ahead and skip me. I don't have anything yet. I forgot.
Who does it? What? Who does it poorly?
You know, I was spending a long time today trying to think of who does it poorly, and I feel bad I can't come up with a specific example. Auto episodes are tricky for me because I feel like a lot of times people just don't have the writing skill to make them as good as they can be.
Mm-hmm.
It ends up pretty flat, where it's just, you know, I'm stuck with this person,
Mm-hmm.
and then now it's better. and I feel like there should be a lot of work on both characters' parts, or however many are involved, to fix that situation. I think it can be a strong episode, but it's hard to say if it would be, depending on the writing for it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, that's okay.
I tend to be just fine with them. I tend to enjoy them.
It's kind of hard to write a bad episode when it's like two characters having a conflict, because you can reach anything like, I effing hate this person, but I have to live with them, or I thought you were my best friend, or no, we actually do get along. It's just I didn't know about this one thing. You know, different things like that. Like, I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I appreciate that. But Chris Moonjump, you had something?
Yeah. All right. Have any of you played Bravely Default?
I still have not, surprisingly.
Okay. So, spoiler alert, kind of.
2 years?
Yeah,
Okay.
but this won't actually spoil any story.
Okay.
But after once you reach chapter 5 in Bravely Default, you will run the exact same dungeons and go to the exact same towns 3 additional times.
Wow.
And the only thing that changes through all of it is all of them being like, has something changed here? I don't know, let's fight this boss. Or, yay, we did it. Wait, it didn't do anything. Why is that? And then you do it again. And yeah, we are talking like a straight probably 15 hours of just grinding through this madness.
Wow.
It is not acceptable.
Yeah, that's overtime. 15 hours.
Yeah, well, you can probably do it faster, but I just used the time at one point to grind because that was a slightly less tedious experience.
I can choose to do
Yeah.
this.
Exactly.
Fair.
I think I used that to finally max out my village too.
It takes a village. It takes a village. That was easy. Todd?
I'm gonna piggyback off of what Anna was talking about.
Oh yeah?
Especially because like she said, either for writers, a battle episode is like a make or break. It does really kind of like just really test you. And there was one, and a lot of people may disagree with me. It was an episode that didn't sit right with me. And a lot of people may disagree with me, including people much higher on the film food chain than me. But there was an episode of Family Guy called it's like Brian and Stewie or something. It was a combination of their.
Was that the one where they were in the bank?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, they tried to break the Family Guy formula with it.
Yeah.
And that's the only episode that has like no cutaway gags or anything like that. But it's still like, I maybe it's the pacing of the episode or something that gets me, because they do like a lot of like just the normal weird like gross out humor that's still Family Guy, but they try to end it with like this like like really endearing, heart-filled kind of thing, but it has to do with like finding oneself, suicide and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I know it won like awards, and I'm sure a lot of people out there like it, but it didn't sit well with me at all. I didn't think it was a really there's just been better examples of a bottle episode. It was, I don't know, it was, I guess, Seth MacFarlane trying something new, but
Mhm.
I think he kind of fell on his face a little with it. And the other example of one that is notoriously a bad bottle episode
Mhm.
is Seinfeld, the
The
Chinese restaurant. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've
and
never seen it, but I was doing research and this came up all the time,
Yeah, and
everywhere I looked.
it's one of those, they did it to try and save money, I think, but
But
they
it
ended up spending more money.
yeah, it cost the same as an actual episode because
Yeah.
the set was so extensive.
Yeah, and it's like, it's just kind of a boring episode. Like, nothing really happens. And they did, like, Seinfeld did a couple episodes, because, like, the parking garage episode is kind of like a bottle episode, but this is a lot more entertaining. I think that's the same thing. They ended up spending as much as, like, an actual episode. Every time they tried to save money, they just spent the exact same amount. But,
Yeah.
but the parking garage is, like, it's got some pretty hysterical parts to it, but the Chinese restaurant just, like I said, it falls flat, and it's like, it's not particularly that funny.
Mhm.
Kind of
Any
just kind of
reason-
boring.
Any reason why? Because I imagine, because I just kept seeing it like listed over and over and over again.
I don't think there's anything to it. There's not any like character development or anything that comes of it. Like, it's
Are they just waiting for a table,
it's
something
just
like that?
them waiting to get into like the Chinese restaurant. That's it. There's no substance to the episode, really.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I've waited to get into Chinese restaurants before. I am very surprised that no one brought this up, but I I hold on, I'll go back. Those are very good examples, because you know what, sometimes maybe it's just a matter of personal preference. I remember at the time when I watched Brian and Stewie, I was like, wow, that was really different, and it wasn't just a bunch of cutaway jokes. I remember thinking, there's a part where there's like a power trip, and it's just like, I made you eat poop because I could, or something like that. There's a part like that in that Brian and Stewie episode that I was just like, well, that's just mean-spirited and terrible, and I don't know.
Like, the episode was like, it tries to disguise like there's been a lot of character development in the end of it, but like the whole episode has been like them eating poop and like
Drinking.
and drinking. So like, I don't know, like the end, like they tried to redeem it in the end, and I think just like it suffered as a whole, I think.
I don't know, like, it brought up suicide in a cartoon that wouldn't usually, like, in a serious manner too, which is the most concerning part, because that show isn't afraid to, it wasn't afraid, and it still isn't, I'm sure, to like go to places that, you know, are tasteless. But yeah, I don't know, it felt a little offbeat. Like, it's praised for not being like on the same path as the rest of the show, but I totally get where you're coming from. No, I get it, and I've been a little bit jaded from Family Guy too, because I was really into it, and I still appreciate it for like the laughs that I got from the first couple of episodes, and like the first few seasons. I think have a DVD somewhere of like the best hits of before it got canceled the first time around. So if that dates me any more than I already am. But I don't know. I think there's, and this is me going on a tangent here now, not like we don't usually do that in the show, but you know, don't be afraid to mention that you appreciate something, or to, like, if you're not into a show right now, don't be afraid to, you know, say what you liked about it, at least, because there was something that interested you in that show in the first place. There was something that drew you to it, and I mean, if it affected you in a way that's positive and good, then, you know, don't let anyone shit on you for that. either. Don't let anyone get you down about, liking something that isn't popular or liking something that is popular. But yeah.
Unless it's bad.
Well,
Unless it's fruit.
just unless it's fruit, then always be for it. But yeah, don't be afraid to stick up for yourself. All right, and what I'm gonna have to say, well, I'm just kind of beating a dead horse right now. It's this movie called Devil, from M. Night Shyamalan.
I thought you liked devils.
I do. Devils, demons, devils, the devil, and we're good. Just a light one, not a pun, but just a happy note.
Just
for
an
me.
acknowledgement.
Just an acknowledgement. There's to you, Satan. Utropeia does not endorse Satan. Well, maybe it does. I don't know. Find the secret message in the episode and find out. But this movie by M. Night Shyamalan is about these people are trapped on an elevator, and one of them is the devil and keeps killing off people one by one, and they're not really sure who it is until the very end. Why does it take so long for them to get the police involved if there's a killer inside of the elevator? Like, there's a dude who is the stereotypical Latino, obsessed with El Diablo. He thinks that, like, when toast falls jelly side down, that the devil is involved pretty much in any given situation. Just the reasoning behind the show, and I won't spoil which one of the characters the devil is, because it's like there's a terrible salesman, an old lady, like the girl next door, a douchebag with like jaded past who's trying to be nice, like the nice guy, and I think like another stuck-up lady, and you have to find out who it is, and it like they do the thing where it's like you thought a character was dead but she wasn't at the very end of the episode, which is kind of like, a lame. I won't call it a MacGuffin, but it's a big fake out. Like, it's this character was dead the whole time.
Wasn't that an M. Night Shyamalan movie?
It wasn't M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Lama.
It was a Mashali Lama movie. And I was no piece, but there was a twist at least, so there's that. He was keeping it real with the twister at the very
well, it's gonna take a lot of better than average movies from M. Night Shyamalan to make up for The Last Airbender.
Yeah. Oh god, that ruined him, didn't it?
Well, he did do The Happening, guys.
Funny story. We actually, Anna and myself and Nate, who might be a special guest next week, saw The Happening, and we actually drove home with the windows up because it actually got to us in the theater. Like, it actually fucking got to us. I don't know how.
Maybe the plants don't like us.
Maybe my allergies are trying to tell me something.
I better go talk nice to every plant I can find.
That's like the movie's signs, though.
Mm-hmm.
Aliens show up to a world made of 2/3 water, are allergic to water.
Joke's on them.
And the director's self-insert says, "I'm gonna go to the lake house. Just think it's a good idea." Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
It's like, oh, good input. Nailed it.
Hands over, and he's got like a fern next to him. Like, it's okay, just be you and me, buddy. Puts his arm around it.
He's wearing one of those beer helmets, but it's got like bottles of water connected to it. I hope there isn't a lady in this water.
Oh no, I forgot about that one.
You're probably a better person.
I hope she's not unbreakable.
No, I got nothing.
No, I can tell it. No, I can tell it's my sixth.
I was gonna lead into that one. It's fine though. I don't care anymore. Okay.
It was a sign.
It was. There were many signs. But we are at the last part, the final sign. Any final thoughts about bottle episodes? I'm just gonna open this up to anyone because
Oh, all right. Bottle episodes don't really apply to a lot of the advice and general things
Yeah.
we kind of tell people
I know.
because, all right, as an amateur content creator, if you need to make a bottle episode, you really need to reevaluate what you're doing.
unless, well, like if you've been running for a really long time or something like that, then maybe. I don't know. In Anna's example for like The Walking Dead, where it's two characters that like practically never talk to each other, I thought that's like an interesting study. But
Yeah.
like I totally get what you're saying, because it's like, you know, maybe there's a reason those two characters haven't talked to each other, and you know what's interesting for you as a writer might not be interesting for the audience. But you know, there's a good way and a bad way to do it too.
Yeah, well, and it's one of those you can put, you know, at that point, for most people, you're not beholden to other people's kind of schedules on that. So take your time, do something that you really find interesting. Because even if it is kind of a self-contained thing like that, make sure that is the reason you're doing it, and you're not just doing it to kind of avoid,
Writing.
Yep.
you know, going into main content.
Yeah.
It's bottle episodes are usually given a very negative consideration because
They
they
are.
usually wind up being bad
Well, it's interesting
because they're usually done for bad reasons.
It's interesting because lately I've been working with a few others to help write a web series for the Cosmic Octopus team, and in one of the episodes we found that it kind of turned into a bottle episode just because it was all in this one same location. It was in like a big like party setting, and we found it interesting because at first it was just it was going to be just kind of a gag, but it eventually turned into like a character study, and it kind of opened our eyes onto how some characters would react given that they're just like stuck in this one spot. They really don't like escape or anything like that. So it's interesting from like a creative standpoint with a bottle episode. Like we've said, it kind of tests your chops as a writer, but it could be exceptionally helpful when, because if you think about it, if you have like your characters, like think about that with them where they're stuck in one spot and all they can do is interact with each other. From there, you start to think, well, how would like these two characters that never interact, how do they interact with each other? Or how do they interact as a group compared to individual characters? So
yeah, and I guess it is an interesting way to kind of force character interaction.
Definitely.
But the one thing that I kind of have seen as a criterion for bottle episodes that I think is important is that they're relatively self-contained.
Definitely.
They usually don't have any connection to anything outside
there can
of.
still be fallout from a bottle episode, I think. Could still be, I mean, because most of the time in a good bottle episode, you do have, some kind of revelation or something like that. And by all means, that can affect from that period on. But usually they do, they're kind of like set aside. They're almost like filler episodes, but with a little more meat to them. So
Yeah, I could agree with that.
You know what? I think whether you're for or against a bottle episode, I think maybe, and this is just my 2 cents here, and maybe my $2 if you're, into dropping a Jackson, that a bottle episode is a great just writing exercise. So
Oh, absolutely.
I agree.
Before you
I
start
could
a
agree with that.
series, or if you like are pitching a bunch of ideas, maybe just write one as practice. Like if you do have two characters that don't usually interact and you're wondering why, maybe do something with that, and then when there's a later episode and those two characters are like in the same situation, maybe you can get a little something out of that. Maybe you can come to some realizations with certain characters, because I mean, good characters can practically write themselves, but that's no reason to not play with that a little bit. So I would just encourage it. I think it's a good writing exercise just in general, whether you use it or not. I'd say just go for it and see what comes from what dreams may come. That was me trying to make a joke, but it just sort of
Such
petered
a
out.
crick in the neck.
That's such a crick in the neck. Oh, okay. And our fourth member is bottling dreams right now. So
Ready to save them for another day.
with all them pickles.
with all them pickles,
My
Pickles
pickle
and
bobsled.
dreams.
the pickles and dreams. It's the next. It's the next. I was gonna say it's some kind of cover band, but I couldn't really think of anything. I'm just drawing blanks on you guys. I'm sorry. But no, this has been a good episode. Sometimes it's nice to have a little shorter episode like this, and I'd like to thank you on behalf of the Utropeia podcast for tuning in, listening to us, being a part of our lives, and just checking us out. Next week we will be talking about, this is a general, and we will be talking about cyberpunk, just in general, maybe with a focus.
All right.
Maybe with a focus on augmenting your body with machines versus controlling them through either a wireless port or mentally. So think about that. But if you just want to talk about cyberpunk in general, we're all for it. And maybe we will have a special guest next week as well. So I will hold that off for later. I have been your host, Ken, with Anna Cranberry, in spirit, at least. Ooh, waking up from the world of tomorrow and cyberpunks.
She's clearly just a bigger fan of Blueberry.
we have to have a talk.
This is going to be a serious
Have a
time.
talk later. It's a scary, serious time. And also my good friend Todd Ogredose.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Remember, don't keep that creativity bottled up.
Yay. And also Chris Moonjump.
Sending out an SOS.
Sending out an SOS.
I remember the edited version of this song.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in again, guys. I'm Ken, aka Pumpkin, and until we talk geek next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.